Welcome, I'm Rob, and this is Grid Series. For 2023, TeamSport have introduced a brand new event for Club and Elite members. Each of the 3 rounds of Grid Series are made up of an 8-minute qualifying, 3 8-minute heats and 1 15-minute final. And you join me in the kart now for qualifying. I was the first kart released from the pits, and so the 8 minutes started when I crossed the line for the first time. Here comes the red flag test. We'll just jump ahead through that. And now it's time to get underway and set as quick a lap time as I can. This video is releasing as one long epic to celebrate the 1-year anniversary of the Rob Goes Racing channel. After you've watched it all, I'd love some feedback down below for rounds 2 and 3. Would you like another long video or a week of daily releases for each race? To be honest, I didn't want to be the first out, as I think I'd rather have had someone setting the pace in front of me. But I knew that the fewer people that passed me, the better I was doing. However, being out in front, it meant I set the pace under that yellow flag restart, and I think I've managed to pull out a gap behind me. It just gives me a bit of breathing space and not have someone fighting to get past me straight away. From here on, I'm hoping for green flags all the way, so I can just concentrate on my performance. Unfortunately for you guys, the track ahead is clear, and with no camera looking behind me, you've got nothing to see. Watch closely though, as I'm sure you can pick out all of my mistakes and give me feedback so I can improve for next time. There were 14 tracks on kart for this qualifier, and points are awarded based on your weight. Just like the BIKC, there are 3 weight classes. Lightweight for anyone under 75 kilograms, middleweight for those more than 75 but less than 90, and everyone else is heavyweight. At the end of qualifying, I weighed in at 78.5 kilos, that's in full kit. That's around where I expected to be, and this meant of course that I was in the middleweight class. So with my first flying lap complete, it's slower than I would have liked in all honesty. I have in my mind that I can do 58-second laps, and so of course, that is where I want to be. But I'm under my own mental pressure to perform well, and this could definitely hinder me. The good news is I'm under no pressure from behind, at this point, although I do keep glancing around to see if I can see anyone. I've already got it in my head that if someone is quicker than me, I'm not going to fight to defend my position, but I'm not going to make it easy for them to get past either. If I let them through and they don't pull immediately away, I may be able to use that to my opportunity and learn something from them. At least for that lap, I got it under 60 seconds. I'd like to take another half a second off if I can. I keep catching glimpses of groups of karts together, and this can only be a good thing for me. If they're fighting one another, it's going to slow them down. There was a lot of head shaking throughout that lap. I was not happy at all, and rightly so. So with only a few minutes to go, I need to perform better. That lap was much tidier. I've improved on my earlier time, but I'm still in 59 seconds. We've improved again with the 59.2. That's better, but still not quite where I want to be, and I'm still disappointed with that. There's the first kart to appear alongside me. I know we're towards the end and it's a clean move up the inside. I've gone with a later turn in and not fought to keep that position. I've not lost much time through that either. That completes the final timed lap, and that completes qualifying for Grid Series Round 1. From that group of 14 drivers, I qualified 6th overall, which, from what I can work out, was either first or second of the middleweight drivers on track at that time. All of the drivers that were faster than me had broken through that 59-second mark, and the fastest time was a 57.673. That is well out of my reach. Each heat will start from those qualifying positions, and points will be awarded based on the finishing position in each heat. So with that said, let's join the grid and let's start Heat 1.
Round 1, fight!
With all of us clearly off the line, the kart behind did try a look up at the inside at turn 1, but I was able to hold them off. I know that all of the karts ahead of me are faster by at least half a second, and I just need to stay on with the pack. If anything happens ahead, I need to be close to take advantage of it. So far that's so good, I'm keeping close enough. The pack in general is starting to spread out a little now, but I'm still hanging on, just about. But there has been an issue and we're into a red flag, with enough time also for a kart change for one of the drivers ahead. We were told the restart was going to be a rolling start, so it was just a case of staying close and watching for the green flags. The driver ahead got a run past the guy with the orange helmet and I'm able to get alongside, but I'm on the outside going into turn 1. I've managed to stay alongside on the exit of turn 1 and I would be on the inside for turn 2, but I've made the pass work before we even get there. I've gained a place. Whilst a gap has formed ahead, I don't feel it's growing any bigger at the moment. I am conscious that I passed a driver who qualified much quicker than I did, and I take a quick look around to see if I can work out if he's close. Now the gap ahead may have gotten slightly bigger, but I'm not feeling any pressure from behind yet, so I'm happy enough where I am. There's another quick check around to work out if I should be looking to defend yet or not. So maybe that gap isn't growing as much as I thought, but there's still no pressure from behind, and with only 2 laps to go, I don't see myself improving any further up the field. That's okay with me, so long as I don't lose this position. Well, he took a look. I don't think I realised he was close enough. I'll have to start driving more defensively now. And as we go on to the final lap, I forget the cars ahead. I just don't want to lose this position. This lap needs to be perfect from me. up the ramp and across the line. I've taken the checkered flag and I've come home in 5th position. I am over the moon to have gained a place, and more importantly, held it throughout the rest of the race. So that is heat 1 done, with just 2 more to go. Each heat will be started in the qualifying positions, not the finishing positions of the previous heat. So let's jump back to the grid in P6 for the start of heat 2. For this start, I've managed to get to the inside before turn 1, and then I've managed to gain a position as another car is still on the outside line. He's got it back into turn 2 though, but we're met with a red flag. Again, this is going to be a rolling start in the original order, so staying close and watching for the green flag is the name of the game for this restart. Through the lower section, I'm given quite a hit into the left-hander, which sent my kart sliding and allowing for the following kart to come on through. So it's not such a great restart this time around, and the kart that has got past is putting a gap on me already. I've managed to close up the gap throughout the remainder of the lap, and if I can keep this up, maybe I'll find an opportunity to reclaim that position. I'm closer, but I'm still not close enough, and I show my intent by taking a very small look up the inside for turn 1. This is where the multi-weight classes don't help me out here. I'm fighting a lightweight driver, and so they just pull away on the straights. This is as close as I've ever been, but I've had to lift briefly to not make contact. I then stupidly decide it was time to try and outbrake them. I lock up and I slide into the other cart. They get a better run out, and now I have to start again. I need to learn to be more patient in these situations. Now we've got another red flag. I come to a stop, but the cart ahead carries on up the ramp to catch up with the rest of the field, and the crashed car is put back into the position they were in before their crash. This time, the field is not bunched up again. I'm screwed now. As we go on to the final lap, there isn't really a lot I can do. There isn't much traffic that I need to worry about behind me, so I just need to finish this lap. Now it does look like I've closed up, but that was Dan. He was a lap down as he needed to change car due to a brake failure. It was a quick final lap, but I'm still cross with that restart. There seemed to be little consistency with how any restarts were done throughout both groups' races, which was a bit disappointing. So that's 7th place overall, and I think I was fastest or second out of the middleweight drivers in this group. It wasn't all that clear who was in which weight class, so I can't be 100% sure. I'm looking at the names of the drivers ahead, and there is only one that I'm not sure of. So before the start of Heat 3, we are going to be starting in 6th place again. But as I left the pits, I discovered my kart had a small issue. Like a couple of the other karts throughout this evening, this one decided it really didn't need its brakes anymore. So yeah, I have to make a quick but slow drive through the grid back to the pits to swap karts. So let's get Heat 3 underway. I've had another okay start. I've managed to hold my place, despite the kart behind having a brief look up the inside. The gap ahead did open up a bit as I had a bad exit out of turn 2. I'm also not sure how close they are behind, so I'll need to be a bit defensive just in case. The cars ahead went for a move, lost all momentum. I've gone into the back of them, losing my own momentum as a result there. And yet another red flag. I wonder how this one will be restarted. Just a green flag. The kart ahead makes a move straight away. Still, I've caught the pack up as a result of that stop. As we head on to lap 4, I'm hoping the guy in the orange suits will be slow again and I'll find a way past. I'm still sticking with defensive lines too, as I'm not sure how close they are behind. There's no sign of a mistake yet, but I've used the train to pull my fastest lap of the heat. The group ahead has started to pull away now, and I'm starting to lose grip on the rear of my kart, with a bit more sliding than I'd like. I thought I'd covered off the inside run, but clearly not enough. Their appearance came as quite a surprise to me. It's not the cleanest of moves from them there, and unfortunately another car has followed them through as well. They've pulled out a gap on me and closed up to the kart ahead. If they start fighting, it might slow them down, but I need to find some grip from this kart. As we come into the final lap of this heat, my pace isn't too bad, and I've closed the gap ever so slightly, but I doubt I'll be able to recover those positions without a mega drive. across the line for the final time with a shake of the head to vent some frustration. I've come in 8th place overall, but again, I believe all but one of the drivers ahead of me are lightweight. There is one driver that I'm still unsure of, so I'm 1st or 2nd in middleweight from this group for me. But of course, all this has been for one thing. The points I've earned were enough to get me into the A final, with a starting place much further down the grid. I was concerned about the battery on my GoPro at this point, as I only had 20% left. So let's jump to where I turned it on. That's lined up on the grid.
I don't think the battery will last. We'll have to see what it can do.
And with everyone now in the correct position, it's just a wait for the lights. And it's lights out and away we go. Starting from 12th position, I'm unable to move to the inside for turn 1, and I lose a couple of places with the karts forcing themselves up the inside. Fortunately, I've recovered the 2 lost places, although I've made slight contact with 11th in the process. A slight hit from behind there lets me know their intentions. I'm guessing another barge passed at some point. I need to fight with the cart ahead, but I need to make sure I don't leave space for any dives from behind. I've kept pace with kart 5 though, and I think we're quite evenly matched over the entire lap, so I need to find somewhere that I'm faster and see what I can do. I didn't expect to move quite so soon from the kart behind though, so I'll need to pay more attention than that. At least that attempt at a pass was clean. The kart ahead has pulled away, mostly from my defending of turns 1 and 2 last time around. Let's try and close it up again now. Okay, so I've closed the gap, and we appear to be catching a couple more karts ahead as well. I'm also still trying to keep an eye on things behind me. I don't want any late dives. We're so close on pace, this is going to be hard without a mistake from the driver ahead. I've still not found any way through yet. I do seem to close up through the lower pit section, so maybe I can do something before the big ramp. Unfortunately, as usual, the lightweight driver gets out of the corners quicker than I can, and I just cannot do anything. Anything twisty and I close up, so I'll need to try and carry speed going into any twisty sections. I tried to carry more speed through here by taking a slightly wider entry. Unfortunately, I forgot about the cart behind, and they stuck their nose up the inside, tried to force me towards the barrier. To finish the move, the cart following also comes through as I'm trying to regain momentum. The annoying thing is, they were spoken to at the end of Heat 3 about contact, and here they are again, doing the same thing. So we're halfway through now. I've lost 2 places, I regained them, and now I've lost them again. At least I can't go much further down the pack. I'm starting to lose grip on the rear end again now. All the rear tyres were changed on all the karts shortly after this event, as they were starting to get a bit low. Despite setting my fastest lap of the race, I'm getting the occasional tap from the cart behind. On the straights, up the ramps, that's fine as it's just helping my car move my weight at a pace that's closer to the lightweight drivers. Getting tapped through the fast corners is not something I'm particularly like though. I'm having to lift slightly through that one to prevent the car from sliding. There are parts where I've closed the gap to the cars ahead, but I know I'm being followed closely too, so I can't afford any mistakes, and I need to be defensive. The pink suit driver at 2 ahead has now caught the orange suit driver, and we're now catching them. I wonder how they'll find a way past. That's another quite a big hit there, and I shake my head. Either try and pass me, or back off a touch and you'll find some space. We've all closed up and formed a small train now. When will the orange-suited driver cave into the pressure? Or maybe the pink-suited driver will go for another dive. Pink suit went for the pass on turn 1 and got past, but can the driver ahead of me do anything too? Nope, pink suit makes their move stick by cutting the orange suited driver up. Black suit gets through as I've had to slam on the brakes, but then they lose the position around the outside. I tried to out-drag them into the next turn, but now I know I've got no rear end. I go for a small dive down the ramp, but I can't make that work either, with a small amount of side-to-side contact. I also need to remember that there is a car behind me, so I can't be fighting too hard or I'll drop back to last place. Although the checkered flag wasn't waved, our timing stops here. Some drivers recorded a 15th lap, but the second half of the pack didn't. I'm not quite sure what went on here, and it's something that shouldn't really have happened, I don't think. But with no rear end grip, it works out okay for me. I was given the biggest hit of the race through there. With my car already sliding, it nearly had me into the barriers. Now we come into a red flag, which then leads to the checkered flag being displayed. As I said last time around, I'm not sure what went on with the timing system here, but that's 14th place overall for me in the A final. It's not ideal, as I'd rather have at least maintained my 12th place starting position, but this car, nor this driver, were up to it. So there we go, that concludes round 1 of Grid Series. Rounds 2 and 3 are still to come, and hopefully I'll perform better through those. Out of all of the middleweight drivers in both groups, they were mostly in the other group, I came 4th overall, so I'm quite happy with that. The 3 drivers ahead are all names I've seen driving before and are regularly much quicker than I am. This event took nearly 4 hours, with some stops for red flags and quite a few kart issues. The karts at Sheffield are starting to get a bit long in the tooth now, and the team are doing what they can to keep them as even as they can. Most of the issues experienced this evening were actually the braking systems rather than the engines. We've been told they'll be fleet tested and prepared better for the next 2 rounds. I do hope you have made it this far into the video, as I appreciate it is a long one. If this format seems to work, I'll release rounds 2 and 3 in a similar manner too. If the feedback is that you prefer shorter videos, I'll release the quali, each heat and then the final over the course of a week, with a session a day instead. This video is released specifically today, the 27th of April, as it has now been 1 whole year since YouTube first saw me drive a kart. That's 1 year of the Rob Goes Racing channel, and I want to thank you all from the very bottom of my heart. All the support you've provided, the feedback I've been given, really means a lot to me, and I hope you are able to see my ability grow as a result. Who knows what the future holds? I am an elite member now, so I'll be looking at more events, and maybe even see how I fare in the British Indoor Karting Championship. As always though, thank you so very much for joining me on my go-karting adventures. The subs continue to grow at a steady rate, and we'll be closing down on that 500 mark soon enough. If you haven't already, please do give that button a little click for me and turn on those notifications too. You wouldn't want to miss out on the next 2 rounds now, would you? The next video will be a more traditional one, as we're back at Sheffield for a public bumper kart session, and there's a bit of road rage coming up too. So until then, thank you all once again, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.